Peace and blessings. Welcome to the channel today. I am Juris Doctorate Attorney Lito. I have some of my constituents and cohorts with me. Before we get into the show today, I just like to let you all know the show is about the state, the New Orleans Pelicans, versus my client, Jordan Hawkins. And I will be talking with my hands like this because I'm an attorney. See you all real soon.
To me, the best chemistry, the best artist, the best producer in the world. I don't think nothing can fade it.
Manny Fresh ain't no joke. I mean, they got people jacking them from everywhere.
For sure. And, you know, we ain't giving our flavor. Let them get it how they live. Do their own thing. So we work hard to build this sound. And with the rappers and the flossing and all the balling we talk about, that's our thing. We created that and we're going to run with that. But it's going to be.
That was Actress, and that was Wild Wayne. And if you don't know who those are, then you probably shouldn't talk to us. This podcast is presented to you by the Birdsall Law Firm, the official injury lawyers of Bookful Media, located at 918 Porter Street by the Superdome. Give them a call, 504-523-5413. If you or somebody you know have been involved in an accident, be sure to mention we sent you. They are the only other attorneys I would allow to represent me other than me. And that's all I have.
Right, so all rise. The Honorable Judge 5 presiding. Let me do it again. All rise. The Honorable Judge 5 presiding. Please be seated.
Yeah.
Court's in session.
Yeah.
The case today is been presented by attorney Lito, JD. This case is on the presumption of William Green, Coach William Green, and his neglect of one Jordan Hawkins.
Mm-hmm.
Attorneys, go.
First and foremost, before we get this thing started, best of luck to you today, counsel. I just need to get my spectacles together.
Are those your regular glasses?
Pardon me, I have the floor right now. Objection. Judge,
Sustained.
jury, bailiff, thank you for your time. Today, I shall bring before you a case of mistrust, mistaken identity, and misuse. I'm only going to present facts, and I'm going to let the jury decide. In the words of Cheddar Chaz, if he was here, no hand holding, only facts. Jordan Hawkins, national champion. I repeat, national champion. I don't think anybody else on this roster can say that. Movement shooter, high IQ basketball playing sniper, a Ray Allen, Rip Hamilton hybrid, reincarnated. He was drafted to the New Orleans Pelicans this summer. And Brother Five, you're the judge, but you are also a witness because
Judge 5.
Excuse me, Judge 5. Pardon me. I'm sorry. Promotion to approach the bench. Judge 5, you were there in Summer League, and you were able to see firsthand that Jordan was special very early on.
Yes.
And what I like to add to that is that even though the shots weren't initially falling, the mechanics, the makings of a good basketball player were there. Because you see, you don't build a building with a shaky foundation. You can't build a building starting at the third floor. No, that's not what we after. In order to build a foundation, you clear the ground first. The cement is laid to rest. The pylons are set. You see, what I'm trying to prove today is that Jordan came into the NBA with an identity, with a foundation. So tonight, we are here to ask Mr. Willie Green and his attorney to please get us off the ground floor. We are ready to fly. Jordan could not be here tonight because he's working on his game. That's all the time I have because we have time constraints.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, jury, Your Honor, Bailiff. You guys are going to hear a lot of things today that sound like a crime has been committed. You are going to hear a bunch of fallacies that are at play describing a reality that doesn't exist with a little bit less than a half of a season to go left in an NBA season. Over, may I add, a number 14th overall pick. Not a top 10, not a top 5, a 14th overall pick. A shooting specialist at that. Now, my client that I'm representing also cannot be here now. I will not repeat his name. But my client, who is not here currently right now, he's guilty of a lot of things. There are a bunch of things in which I cannot defend him on when it comes to his representation of this basketball team, of this company. But one thing I cannot say that he is guilty of is misusing, is misplaying, or misdiagnosing Mr. Jordan Hawkins, your client here, Lito. By the time this is over, by the time this trial, by the time this show is over, everyone will know that this is just according to plan. This is a part of the plan, and there are more factors at play when talking about the Jordan Hawkins, the situation that affects many parties that all can't be here today. I know that the other side here, I know that Attorney Lito will have a bunch of passionate soliloquies that won't make much sense. He's gonna throw you a bunch of fancy numbers. He's gonna try to trick and insult your intelligence and insult what your eyes and your mind has told you over time. He's gonna throw out history of other similar prospective rookies in this franchise's history and others. Don't let him do that. Let's stay and stick with the facts. Like he so mentioned there with Cheddar Chaz. He brought up Chaz. We're going to bring him up to stand at some point, and he's going to be a key part in showing everyone why a lot of you guys have this wrong. I rest.
Now, as we listen to these opening arguments, I want the jury to understand this is a case based on facts. This has nothing to do with opinions, nothing to do with malice. This has everything to do with facts. Now, our defense attorney here stated that no crime was committed. Now, I have to set the record straight. We wouldn't be in court if there wasn't a crime committed. We wouldn't be. But it is not my job to determine what that crime is. I decide based on what is presented by these two attorneys. Bailiff, make sure these two guys here, these two attorneys, make sure they clear the way and allow each other to speak. Because I can tell there's a lot of animosity in this court, and I won't have it. I ain't afraid to use this whistle. Don't talk out of turn, young man. Don't talk out of turn. This sets the standard in my court. In my court. Now, I would like our defense attorney will start next with his second argument.
Appreciate that, Your Honor. I'm going to start by calling up my first witness, our bailiff, Cheddar Chaz. Can you please approach the stand, sir?
I feel like I'm snitching.
All right. All right. Mr. Chaz, I'm gonna start by asking you a series of questions. Yes or no is just fine. First question. Follow your work. Would you consider yourself one of the more objective media pundits that covers the situation at hand here when talking about the New Orleans Pelicans?
Yes.
So you would say, so there's no reason for you to have any side here to choose. There's no, like, you're going to call it how you see it one way or another. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. And that even goes for my client here as well, which I'm not going to mention his name, but
Objection,
you're gonna
objection. Your Honor, if I may approach,
wait.
Your Honor, he keeps saying that he won't mention his client's name. We have a jury who needs to hear who he's speaking about.
They know who we're speaking about here. Can I continue?
I'm going to have to rule with Lito here, Attorney Lito. You must. He's not. What's the guy from Harry Potter? Anybody?
Dumbledore.
You're not Dumbledore. You got to say his name.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
you talking about Voldemort. I'm sorry.
Voldemort.
Pardon.
Yeah, you got it. You have
my
to say
client. Okay, my client William Green, Chaz.
Yes.
Would you say, when looking at the franchise in total, simply your opinion, would you say that the franchise has consistently been well ran from top to bottom?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Would you say, when observing and grading my client, William Green, would you say that his flaws simply start and stop with him?
No.
So you would say that people higher than his job title also play in this, or also at play when we're talking about decisions that are made, certain sacrifices that are made, good and bad decisions?
Yes, I would.
Okay. Fair enough. Couple more questions, and then I'll pass it back here to Lito, the prosecutor. When Jordan Hawkins was drafted, do you remember your thoughts on him as a player?
Yes.
Do you remember your thoughts on him as a draft pick?
Yes.
Okay. For the jury, or for people that may not remember, and you can keep it as short as possible, can you summarize your thoughts on Jordan Hawkins? Back then,
his film didn't necessarily jump off the screen. He looked a bit undersized, and I worried that him being a bit undersized would compromise his playing time.
Sounds okay. All right. Really, glad you said that. I'm sure some things have changed since then in your opinion of Jordan Hawkins.
Yes.
Can you tell the jury, can you tell the people that are watching what has changed since then?
His rebounding ability. He seems to be a very self-motivated guy, a self-starter on a team that doesn't have a lot of self-starters, and he appears to always be ready.
But even with those improvements, would you still consider him a specialist of sorts?
Currently, yes. Currently, yes, I would.
No further questions. Thank you, sir.
Prosecutor, you may proceed.
Excuse me 1 second. Hey Chaz, how you doing, sir?
How you doing, brother?
No problem, man. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Thank you for being here today. We do appreciate you, and we did not have to subpoena you, which is great. Chaz, I listened to the other attorneys' arguments up there with you, and I heard some interesting things, man.
What? Objection, Your Honor. I would like to not be the other attorney. If I have to speak with my client, I would like to be respected the same. I would like him to actually say my name as well and treat me as someone who spent 17 years chasing this title.
Sustained.
Your Honor, objection. His his client is a part of the story. This guy is a nobody. We don't even.
Your Honor, he's questioning your ability to make a.
Fine. It's fine. That's fine.
This is my court. You
fine.
don't dictate to me what
It's
happens
fine.
in my court.
It's fine. No problem.
You
I'm sorry.
say
sir.
names because I asked you to.
No problem.
This could end right now.
No problem.
All right.
Should I call him Chris J? What's his middle name? Can we get your middle name?
Not needed, not necessary.
Okay. Chaz. You said some very interesting things when speaking to Mr. Chris J. Connor, the J unknown. I would like to rebuff some of those remarks. I would argue that Jordan Hawkins is the third most prepared player on this team.
Is that a question?
No, I'm just making a statement. I would
Okay.
argue he's the third most. How do you feel about that? There's my question.
I would probably argue he's maybe even second most, but third doesn't seem far off.
I'm glad we're on the same page. You mentioned compromised playing time due to stature and possibly ability.
More so stature.
More so stature.
Yeah, more so stature.
Okay. You have a 5'9" backup point guard that stature does not seem to be a problem in getting that young man minutes. Is there some sort of coercion there that is there what's going on how a guy with a higher offensive ceiling can't get those minutes, and he's taller, a better rebounder, I would say a better player, but the 5'9" point guard, what's your response there?
Well, I think I think there's multiple issues there being conflated, right? I think when you speak about the Jordan Hawkins situation, that's more of a b-ball thing, and when you speak about the 5'9" point guard, that's probably more of like a BBC thing.
BBC?
So
BBC, can we get a clarification on BBC?
British broadcast channel. They talk a lot about basketball, and they cover it. People from England love basketball. It's all the rage over there in the UK. So when people are looking and seeing things working overseas, where a 5'9" player may be, able to succeed and ascend versus the NBA, where that's not as normalized.
Okay, I listen. The way you danced around that was great, but here's my follow-up question to you.
Objection.
That's fair. My foot was on that.
You can't understand.
My bad.
Judge Five. In his defense, my foot was on the line.
Yeah. I'll allow it. Under these pretenses, I'll allow it.
It's all about accountability in this courtroom. I just want to let everybody know that.
Watch it better.
So technically, what you're telling me is the compromised playing time. It sounds like it's actually due to the coach compromising said player's minutes rather than the player needing to have his minutes compromised. Is that correct?
That sounds totally accurate to me.
Cool. Brother Chaz, when you look at this team, is there a reason that you will play a defensive specialist, one that could, I don't know, maybe not do the basic things like dribble or make a layup?
Your Honor, this conversation is not what objection. This conversation is not about the party that he's about to bring into discussion here. This is a conversation about his client.
I'll have to allow it on the pretenses that you said specialist to begin with. In your opening argument, you stated that Jordan Hawkins was a specialist. I will have to allow our prosecutor to use the word specialist in this sense. Continue.
You're on the Brother Chris has on a silk shirt. So here's the thing, Chaz. Why would you play a defensive? Okay, let me just give you a scenario because I don't want to give you empty facts. Right. We the Pelicans have been down, I don't know, 15, 20 points. Right. And instead of thinking, hey, maybe we need some offense, you double down and you say, hey, we need more defense. And that would be fine if said Australian player could provide you any support on the offensive end.
Technicality, we say we're using names, sir. You have to use names.
I apologize. Your Honor, excuse me. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Said Brother Daniels
Okay.
does not provide.
That was Muslim. Go ahead.
We have a problem with Islam. So Brother Daniels does not provide any offensive support, being a liability on one end of the floor. How do you sustain the notion that playing him over my client is good for this basketball team?
I, for lack of a better term, I feel like it's a total of miscarriage of coaching.
Mm. Would you say that maybe I like the word miscarriage? Would you maybe say it is also a misuse, mistrust? Those fit into the lexicon of the words that you're saying?
I'd go as far as saying it's a misdemeanor.
Wow. This brother, thank God for this brother. Brother Chaz, do you believe Chris, defense attorney Chris J, Connor's client has a plan? Where does the youthful development take place for rookie players, first, second year guys?
Objection again. It is not solely on the coach, on my client to develop players. That is a staff and an organizational responsibility.
No problem. Hey, Your Honor, I'm going to let him have that objection. That's cool because it's so funny that I have a follow-up question to that because I felt like he might have got annoyed and did that, right? So, Brother Chaz, it seems like Brother Chris J. Connor likes to pass the buck, but I'd like to remind him that as a coach, you are the manager of all things. Pardon?
Sir, pass the buck in my courtroom. I will not allow it. I will not allow it.
Okay.
You got one more time, buddy. You got one more time.
No
your
problem.
ass is out of here.
Your Honor, I would like to speak. I feel like
Your Honor, it's still my go, Your Honor.
It's been about 8 minutes now, Your Honor.
Listen.
My last point.
Closing statement. You gotta wrap it up.
Yeah, that's a little crazy.
Double entendre. That's safe sex, man. We're all about protection here. Continue with your last statement.
Yeah, yes, sir. I'd like to apologize to the courtroom for the passing the buck reference. I literally just meant in dollars, but I'd like to say pass the responsibility. As a coach, you're the manager of all things related to the ball club. So why would you pass the rotational minutes to another coach? Brother Chaz, don't you feel like the head coach should have a say in that?
I absolutely do. I feel like ultimately it should come down to the head coach making that decision.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Your rebuttal, defense attorney.
Will said it, and for the start of my statement, I'm going to keep this elementary, like the 8th grade tie that Lito has on. So we're going to say, because we did say that we were going to talk about facts. And what I heard from Lito was a bunch of subjective things at play, a bunch of things on preference, a bunch of statements on style.
Objection.
Can I speak?
Objection. Your Honor, Dyson Daniels can't make layups. I did not make that up. That is a fact. You've seen it. Everybody's seen it.
Now, as I would love to accept your objection, I have seen in person Dyson Daniels make a layup. So I can't, with his eyes closed. So I cannot conclude with your argument of this objection. Defense attorney, please continue.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor. So we're gonna start speaking about some facts, some numbers. Okay. Now, when you hold up a sign, you say "Free Hawkins." You would say that person has been jailed, right?
Mm.
Like where
Is he
the
a
opposing attorney
would
needs to be. Huh? Wait, go ahead.
he
Huh?
be a jailbird since it's free hawk?
And because of the Pelican?
Yeah, it's a lot of entendres there. But
Yeah,
continue. Sorry.
yeah. No worries.
Yeah.
So we can look at a few different things. I mean, some of these things write themselves. Lito brought up Rip Hamilton.
Attorney Lito, attorney.
Attorney Lito brought up Rip Hamilton. Jordan Hawkins right now is averaging about 21 minutes per game, bordering on a line of 22 minutes per game so far. The season isn't over with. Per my numbers here, Rip Hamilton averaged about 19 minutes his first year. First year. Okay? That was your comparison, not mine. Jordan Hawkins' numbers say he's averaging more minutes. He's right on track. If not, a little bit advanced to where one of your comparisons, Rip Hamilton was. Now, I'm going to read some names here that are in front of him in regards to minutes.
Objection.
Since we're looking to mischaracterize my client, let's speak more about facts. Are we allowed to do that here?
You're on objection. Rip Hamilton was playing with Michael Jordan.
I have to allow it because you mentioned Rip Hamilton in your comparison. Listen,
Zion Williamson is signed to Michael Jordan. It's all. Let's keep going. I'm gonna read some names here. Attorney Lito, can you look at the camera? Thank you, sir. Have some respect here. So, some of the names that are above him in minutes. We have the Thompson twin from Detroit. Bad team, high draft pick. Would you say he deserves? Matter of fact, I just want you to say yes or no. Does he deserve to play more minutes than Jordan Hawkins? Average more minutes?
Your Honor, is he cross-referencing me? Because I don't know if I'm
Yes.
a part of the trial.
You're a part. I'm speaking to you.
He's not on stand. A defense attorney. Would you like to
Can
bring?
Can I bring Lito? Can I bring Attorney Lito up to stand, please? Is that allowed?
Yes, but you have to kind of do this as a. This isn't a joke.
Has this guy been in the courtroom before?
I know. I've seen him around. I know he's been in a court before, but I need him to understand. I don't play the games in my court. Like, we do things the right way in this court.
Your Honor, I'll finish my statement. We'll save that for a later part here in the trial here.
Okay.
Minutes. Derek Lively II. You would say he deserves. Derek Lively's a starter. Probably deserves to play more minutes here than Jordan Hawkins. I already told you about the Thompson twin. Scoot Henderson, friend of the show, averaging about 26 minutes a game. Makes sense. Above. Victor Wembanyama, we don't have to ask that question. Jaime, I'm not gonna butcher his last name. We're gonna call him Triple J, the sensation in Miami. Jaime Hawkins Jr.
Yeah.
Averaging 30 minutes per game in Miami. No one has a problem with that. He's earned that. Chet Holmgren, second-year rookie, and Brandon Miller. There's a couple other names that are above him, but there's not many. All of those names that I gave you, those are the majority of the names that are above him in minutes. Wow! Even while that's still being the case, who leads the rookie group in three-pointers per game? Well, made per game. Jordan Hawkins. So how can we free something? How can we free somebody? How can we charge my client with misusing said person when this individual is still doing some impressive things in a rotation where there is a bunch of other players for salary or talent or years spent time in the league that are supposed to be ahead of him in the rotation. However, and when it comes to rookies, he's number one in three-pointers made. He's still averaging double digits. He made the rookie sophomore game. If I remember correctly, Dyson Daniels did not make, who you mentioned, did not make the rookie and sophomore game last season.
Objection, Your Honor. Talking about good basketball players.
Okay. But I would argue that his timeline is where it needs to be. And if you can think back to a comparison that is often made that I've heard in this courtroom before, Trey Murphy. Trey Murphy is the comparison that's brought up very often here when talking about when talking about your client Jordan Hawkins. Do you remember when Trey Murphy had his biggest impact of that season? It was in the second half of the season, late to be exact. Once my client put him through his system, agreed or not. Once, whether you agree with the perspective or not, once my client
Your Honor, you just let that
put
go.
Trey Murphy through his style, his system, his way of handling rookies, we saw the best version of Trey Murphy to end that season. I could argue that the best is yet to come. The defense rests.
Now, albeit these arguments are pretty substantial, to the prosecutor, it is not my job to object. It is not my job to object.
Your Honor, you let this young man finish a statement with the best is yet to come. That's all I'm saying.
And that is his statement. Whether
I couldn't say past the buck. But he can say
because that's egregious.
the
It's
best
also,
is
it's also a slavery term. Those are things that we choose not to use.
It's double egregious, triple. There's a lot of entendres there.
Yes,
a lot of them.
Okay,
quite nasty.
Yeah, very. So I couldn't allow
that. The best is yet. Okay,
freak.
Okay, you let this freak ass boy get that shit.
Freak.
All right, I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Now listen, we won't have any of these notions of freakness. We don't worry about that.
I'm sorry. I lost my composure. I'm sorry.
You got to pass the soup, talking like TD Jakes.
I'm sorry.
What's happening here?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
All right. I'm telling you, this close to getting tossed from this courtroom. This courtroom, man. Don't hey. You think them $2 glasses gonna let brother? I will get you.
Your Honor, all respect, Your Honor, all respect.
All right. We will be entering our last and final arguments. Actually, I want to ask my bailiff a question. In these arguments, we have listened to about the fallacy or possibly truth of this coaching staff's ability to develop, scheme, and produce players. Now, whether it may be true or false is up for our determination. But do you think William Green has put a system in place that has allowed players to flourish, in your opinion?
No. In totality?
Totality, yes.
No.
Okay, specifically for, let's say, Jordan Hawkins.
No.
Specifically for, okay, you said
just because, like even with his minutes distribution, for example, he started a bunch of games and then he didn't play a bunch of other games, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna look like, he always getting these minutes, but it's like if you only play
because of the
5
injuries,
games,
right?
Right. And now it's kind of like, So I don't know. I just don't know.
Okay. Even in the development of a guy as these attorneys brought up, Dyson Daniels, do you think that there was a plan?
I feel like Willie Green is giving Dyson Daniels every chance to succeed.
In the instance of a guy that's no longer with this team, Kyra Lewis, was there a plan?
I feel like Kyra got a fair chance to succeed and he failed.
Thank you, Bailiff. I appreciate your comments. I will also take those into consideration. Now, as we enter our final arguments, I will use these arguments as a cliff to make my decision. You two have made convincing arguments. Please close said arguments, and we will make it out of this courtroom quite swiftly. Lito, Prosecutor Lito, Attorney Lito at large. Please start.
Thank you, sir. So happy to finally have my number called. I would like to rebuff a few things before I call Attorney Christopher J. Connor to the stand. Your Honor, I'd like to argue that besides Victor, Chet, and maybe, I don't know, nobody else, that Hawk had the most NBA ready skill set, the most developed skill set in the draft as a shooter. It was a defined set. You put him into a situation with two guys who get max dollars, and he has the attributes to impact their games immediately. I would also like to argue that my client is more NBA ready than Trey was at this point last year. Your Honor, now I'd like to call Mr. Christopher J. Connor to the stand.
Please proceed.
So we were talking facts, not feelings. We're talking no emotion, just straight facts. I'd like to provide you with some information that your client gave us, and I just want to see how you feel about this.
He's extremely confident in his ability, and he carries himself like that, and I love that about him. He comes in every game, every practice, whatever it is, and it doesn't matter how many times he misses, he's going to shoot it again. And we feel very comfortable putting him on the floor, and he's excited about getting on the floor and competing. He's a competitor.
Now, the last part of that statement was we're excited about putting him on the floor, and that's why I find the lie. Why does your client do these post-game pressures about things that he's not going to continuously do game after game? You set a precedence, and then you do not follow up. Can you answer that question?
My client has a difficult job. My client...
Please just direct
my
answers.
Client,
we don't need.
My client. I mean, can I?
No.
Can I finish?
No. You. Yes or no, please. Yes or no. Yes or no. You're understanding.
Wait,
yes.
I wasn't asked a yes or no question.
Why does your okay? Yes or no question? Did your client lie?
Yes.
Cool. While we're here, I'd like to provide. I'd like to just take this a little bit 1-2 way back if we can for 1 second. Jordan Hawkins scored 31 points against the Denver Nuggets. Do you know what happened after that?
Yes.
Can you tell the jury what happened?
31 points against the Denver Nuggets, or do you mean the Dallas Mavericks? Do you have your facts?
I'm sorry. Well, it seems like you know. So tell us.
No.
Is it
your job to know?
No. You understand. Just tell us what happened after that.
I know your affinity when it comes to D's. I want you to get it correct.
Whoa, Judge.
Is it Dallas? Was it Denver?
Judge.
That's your warning, buddy. That's your warning.
There's kids in this court.
No mention of D's in this courtroom, please. We do not condone. Sir.
All right.
Thank you, Rich Boy.
That's a warning for both of y'all.
Yeah. All right. So
double tech. That's I didn't.
Yeah, it's the fairest judge in the world, man. Mills Lane, get him out of here.
Judge, order, please.
Right,
can you tell me what happened after?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. He did not, if I remember correctly, he did not play the next game against the aforementioned team that you brought up, the Denver Nuggets. He did not suit.
Yeah, but where did your client send my client? He sent him to a particular place. He wasn't on the bench.
After he scored 31 points against the Dallas Mavericks?
Did your client not send my client to the G League?
After he scored 31 points? I feel like your facts may be a little bit confused here. Attorney Lito, with all due respect.
I'm sorry, I'm not here for your feelings. Where did your client send my client after? What did he send him to the G League or not?
He sent him to practice after the 31-point game that we're speaking about.
Judge,
Can you show me?
I asked him.
Can you show me facts? I mean, I gave you an answer, respectfully.
Now, was Jordan Hawkins sent to the G League after scoring 31 points? I think that's the question at hand. He was not. It was prior to scoring 31 points that he was sent to the G League. Hence why attorney Chris Connor is not answering your question the way you would like him to. It was.
Is this your first case? Have you ever practiced law before, or you just look like a passive? Oh, all right, go ahead.
I got it. Thank you. I appreciate it. Attorney Lito, please finish your argument and we will move forward.
No problem. Chris J. As a rookie, Hawkins has scored 2 30-point games in his career so far, right? And in those games, he was 7 for 14 and he was 6 for 12. You don't look like a very smart man, but I can tell you that that's 50%. Coach, the coach at that point, he was on pace to break Keegan Murray's rookie 3-point record. I want to know, why is your client in collusion with the Sacramento Kings to not let him break that record?
Because my client doesn't care about rookie individual records. My client cares about putting the team in the worst situations to win basketball games.
Pardon me? Could you repeat that?
My client cares about putting his team in the worst or best situations to win basketball games.
I'm so glad you chose to switch that word.
Yeah.
Because that was
crazy.
We're doing the show.
Couple more things, Your Honor, and I'm in my soliloquy. I'm gonna land my plane, as Faloran would say. Jordan Hawkins, I'm gonna just read these stats to you because your client wasn't man enough to be here. Jordan Hawkins is first in 3-pointers made for rookies. He's second in attempts. He's third in 3-point percentage. He's third in free throw percentage. Does it sound like Jordan Hawkins is a good player who deserves rotational minutes to you?
Sounds like to me he's been put in a situation to.
That's not what I'm. Yeah, one question.
Yes
or no?
Yeah.
Thank you. Cool.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
And I just like to say this. Some would say that Jordan Hawkins made the Rise of Stars game despite the lack of support from a head coach. How do you feel about that?
Once again, is it a yes or no question, or do you want me to give an opinion?
Well, when it was a yes or no, I asked you yes or no. I just asked you how you felt. I don't know if you can hear or read. I'll write it down if.
You mentioned that this case was about facts, not feelings. So asking me how I feel would be completely against what we said the premise of this case was about. Attorney / Your Honor, we'll leave that to Your Honor.
Your Honor, due to this incompetence, no further questions.
Goofy. All right, go ahead.
Please, defense attorney, continue with your final statement.
All right. So there's been, I mentioned to you guys in the beginning in my opening statement that my opponent, attorney
objection.
I mentioned that he would get rather emotional in some of his statements and some of his arguments to why his client has been wronged here. Now, I'm going to bring him up to the stand. I'm going to call him up to the stand, and I'm going to show you some actual facts that back up the emotion, because I know he won't be able to answer them in a way that's going to make his client look.
Objection.
On what grounds?
On what grounds, please?
He's trying to influence the jury on a question I wasn't even asked yet.
Isn't this my job?
His job is to influence the jury.
Your Honor, harassment.
Now, this is a court. My court. I like signs. I'll allow it.
All right. I'm gonna call attorney Lito.
I'm here.
JD.
I'm already up here. I'm here. Just let's go.
You're up here. Let me. All right.
Do you accept to say the same truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Kind of.
I think that's how it goes. I don't know.
Kind of.
Let's go.
Kind of. Well, wasn't the Bible, so.
Yeah.
Attorney Lito.
Yeah. What up?
Per my records, you are 48 years old. You have been. Yes or no? You yourself, you partake in playing basketball from time to time?
No.
No. You've never played basketball.
Your Honor, he's badgering me. I asked the question.
You say no? Okay. All right. How long would you say you have been watching or defending basketball clients during your practice?
I would say about 12 years now.
Okay. Do you watch basketball? Yes or no?
Please answer the question.
Okay.
Is a fat baby heavy?
Okay. So you can't play, but you watch. Understood. So let me ask you, what would you consider, in your estimation, a good, let's just say a good field goal percentage in the NBA?
What is it? A jump shot? What are you talking? A layup? A jump shot? Like what?
I think you're talking. You're doing the dancing that you accuse.
I don't
Brother
dance.
Chaz of doing earlier.
I don't dance.
Okay.
I can shoulder lean, but
You don't know how to dance though.
Shout out to young girl.
Yeah. What would you consider a good field goal percentage in totality, including layups, including jump shots, including dunks, 3-pointers, half court heaves? Since we are being petty,
Your Honor, this question is not.
What do you consider?
The question is clear as mud.
Answer the question, please.
Your Honor, just motion to approach the bench.
Answer the question. You don't need to. You're already here. You're at.
Okay, no problem. No problem. Sorry, Your Honor. Since my client is shooting 40% from 3, I'd say 40%.
You would say 40% in total field goal percentage, not 3-point percentage.
I said from 3.
No, I'm saying period, not 3-point percentage. Total field goal percentage. What do you consider? Can you answer the question? What is a good field goal percentage in the NBA?
72%.
Total field goal percentage. That's good.
72%.
What would you consider a bad field goal percentage in the NBA?
%30.
What would you consider average?
According to Joe Mazzulla?
No.
Oh. Average total field goal percentage, I'd say 50.
Your client is averaging, he's shooting 40% from the field.
3.
No, from the field. Completely.
From 3.
Do you know the facts on your client?
From 3 too, though. Make sure you.
Great, which means he can't do anything else. He is shooting 40% from the field. When it comes to rookies, did you know that your client's rivals right now are Scoot Henderson and Keontae George that are shooting 37 and 36%? Did you know, yes or no, that this puts your client at the bottom of his rookie teammates that we're talking about, like in his class, that we can compare in minutes wise when it comes to field goal efficiency? Did you know that? Yes or no? Okay, no, you didn't. But let's say this. Let's go here. You said that 50% was average and 30% was bad. So then that would mean below average would be about 40%. Is that correct? Yes or no?
Well, you just took words that I didn't say. So let's You can, I mean, whatever your math is, whatever Chris,
Well,
what's your name?
okay.
Chris J. Connor, whatever your
Yes.
math is.
Okay, so I'll ask you, if 30% is bad when
Yeah.
it comes to efficiency, and 50%, we'll keep it again elementary like your tie.
Sure.
If 30% is bad and 50% is good, what would you consider 40%?
Your Honor, this guy doesn't have a left side of his collar. His left collar has disappeared. Like there's nothing going on. He
Your Honor, can you answer the question?
Outfits are not
okay. No, yes, sir. No problem. I
objectified in the
apologize.
courtroom. Thank you.
Brother Chris J. Connor. The thing is that you're not accepting. I don't know.
Your Honor, can you?
I'm about to answer your question. I don't know if you have the capacity to understand what I'm saying.
He said it was a yes or no question. Please answer the question.
It kind of wasn't though.
Your Honor, he's disrespecting you again in your court.
Listen.
Somewhat.
Yeah. Now, answer the question with a yes or no, and then expound.
Okay.
I'll allow that.
Ask me the question again.
If you consider 50% to be good and 30% to be bad, it wasn't even yes or no, to be honest. I asked, where did you consider 40%?
Yana, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, you answered the question.
Well, you can't force him because now it's yes or no. So it's not a yes or no. So Prosecutor Lito, please continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to say that all of these numbers that Mr. Chris J. Connor is presenting is subjective because you have to take into effect who's on the line, who's in the lineup with my client. A lot of times he's on the floor with a Najee Marshall, a Dyson Daniels. There's nobody taking the responsibility on the offensive shoulders other than my client because he's going to come in and shoot volume shots. He's on the floor with guys who won't shoot. So if you put him in, if he's in the game with a Brandon, a Zion, or a CJ, those numbers are going to look completely different from my client.
Okay, let me ask you this. Do you think that Brandon Miller, who plays in Charlotte, yes or no, plays with a bunch of talented players night to night?
Well, he has a point guard, so
his point
makes a
guard's
big
been hurt.
difference. He's back now. He's back now.
Yes
though.
or no? But
he's back now, though.
Yes or no?
Terry Rozier was there also. Who's a
yes or no?
Do I think he plays with more talented players?
Yes.
No. However, I would say specific to his skill set, point guards, ball handlers, people who facilitate are important to his game, as they would be my client if we had that.
Okay, so I'll say this, and I'll ask you another question after that, and we'll wrap up because it's been a while here. And actually, I would like to ask the bailiff a similar question if Your Honor would allow it, since I can't have two people up on the stand at once.
As my dog Mills Lane would say, I'll allow it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Lito, do you believe the organization in itself has done a good job in developing talent, even before my client was present as a head coach? Yes or no? No. Bailiff, respected brother Chaz, do you believe that the organization has done a good job of developing young talent even before my client William Green was present?
Absolutely not. Wait, say that again.
Do you believe
Willie Green?
Yes, before. In their history, have they been good at developing young talent, regardless of said coach? Yes or no? It's perfectly fine.
I'm gonna say yeah.
Your Honor.
I'm gonna say yeah.
Please proceed, Prosecutor.
My follow-up question to Mr. Connor about that is
this
you're on a
this isn't your time.
This isn't your time. You had your chance.
But I would like to follow up on my statement.
No.
He gave Brother Chaz a chance to answer, and I didn't get a chance to.
This is not how a courtroom works, sir.
This is not how this goes.
Now, okay, I'm gonna close with this. You yourself said the organization doesn't, Attorney Lito doesn't and hasn't historically done a good job at developing young talent, regardless of my clients. You also admitted that 40% is not a good average. So you're telling me that this person, that someone who shoots 40%, should probably be playing inconsistent minutes. If you're average at something, more than likely, you're at least inconsistent. That's one argument. But the second argument for sure, I think clears the fact that if you tell me that as an organization, historically, this business has not done well at developing young talent, then you cannot hold simply my client accountable
Objection.
for one player, a 14th overall pick. You have to hold everyone and parties that are not here above him accountable as well. My argument rests.
Objection.
Continue, prosecutor.
Your Honor, this attorney lacks so much nuance and depth in his argument. There's so many areas in the argument where he failed to give you the most important facts. Your Honor, just because something has not been historically right, when you have the chance to correct it and you don't correct it, you're still in the wrong.
Yeah.
Just because something has not been, New Orleans in general, Your Honor, let's just say everything has been corrupt. So now when you get in office, do you follow tradition or do you set your own standard?
Now, after time of listening to you two attorneys speak about our case at hand, we are here to understand first and foremost this organization's plight. One, for developing young talent, and two, for the welfare of one Jordan Hawkins. There has been some missteps, some more specifically at fault of the organization. Prior to your client, defense attorney Chris J. Connor, prior to his arrival as a coach here in New Orleans. But that does not rid him of fault here. Although, with that being said, he is a person that has been under very tough situations, right? He was not dealt a great hand here. Although he's very, very talented group of individuals for him to manage, the group has not been healthy, was not healthy for the first 2 years of his coaching tenure. And this is where my issue lies. He has had a healthy roster this season. He has had in place very good coaches to surround him. And with the offensive repertoire to increase the one scoring plight of one Jordan Hawkins. If you look at numbers from a Devontae Graham led Charlotte Hornets that got him paid, you would say that Jordan Hawkins is a better prospect than Devontae Graham. And the man that led him was one James Borrego, and he sits on the sideline next to Willie Green. Now, you made it very difficult there, defense attorney Chris Connor, and Prosecutor Lito, you left a lot of things open for interpretation. If this was just 1 versus 1, my guy, you would have lost. But the facts are the facts. I find William Green guilty of all charges. He should be sent He will be. It will be determined at a later date. His sentencing. Court is adjourned. Everyone have a good night. Thank you for watching. It's been a pleasure.
Oh,